Woo!
Hey everybody, Jim Sammons here with the Kayak Fishing Show live. Kind of an impromptu one. I know this is our normal time, but just been kind of buried with stuff this last week, and I don't know, holidays, whatever. Didn't get a guest, but I did have some stuff I wanted to talk about. So of course, the Kayak Fishing Show live brought to you by Ballast Point Brewing Company, having the Mocha Marlin Porter today. This is such a good beer. Anyway, this is brought to you by Ballast Point Brewing Company for now. I don't know if you guys saw, about 4 years ago, Ballast Point sold to a big corporation for $1 billion. Fast forward 4 years, and they've been sold again. And I don't think for anywhere near that. Everybody I've talked to said this is going to be a good thing. So hopefully it is a good thing. These people that bought it are more brewers. They're microbrewery. This is their background. And say they're going to bring kind of the heart and soul of Ballast Point back, make it more that San Diego beer that we liked, and with the, that theme with all fishing and the whole bit, the Mocha Marlin Porter. And they got Marlin around in the can. So definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that they stay with us, and that the changes that do happen over there are a good thing. What else? I don't know if you guys saw, Jackson Kayak had some great deals for Cyber Monday. But now they've got 12 days of Christmas. So every day for 24 hours, they're even cutting those prices. If you looked at the prices for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing, if you looked at those prices, the prices are actually even going to be lower for this 12 days of Christmas. But you only have 24 hours. They'll put up a couple of kayaks. Today, I believe it's the Mixmaster, which is a whitewater boat, and a Blue Sky Escape. Now, the difference between the Blue Sky Escape versus a Angler through 60 isn't that big. A couple of hatches, which you could add, the front porch, which you can add if you want. But it's at an amazing price for those 24 hours. So if you've been thinking about getting a Blue Sky, I don't think you're going to find it at a better price ever. So very, very good deal. So you might want to check that out again. I love my Blue Sky. I think it's one of the funnest things to fish off of, particularly for the flats, skinny water, standing up on the seat even. I mean, it's just a great boat. So maybe check it out, see if it is the boat that you're interested in. And then, I have no clue what the deals are going on for the next 12 days, but I just wanted to share that with you in case you had been considering it. And, we'll share those on the page every day and just let you know what's going on. There's been other changes at Jackson Kayak. If you saw, Eric Jackson actually stepped down as the president of Jackson Kayak here the other day. I'm sure that was quite an emotional decision for him, but in the long run, I think it may be the right decision. The guy's an athlete. He's the former world champion whitewater boater, and now he's been pursuing a pro bass career. Trying to run the company and to pursue those two things, is pretty tough. So I think, honestly, in the long run, this is going to be a good thing for Jackson Kayak. I think it'll be a good thing for Eric Jackson. He's still involved with the company. In some fashion, brand ambassador. His kids still work for the company, Emily and Dane is the current world champion men's whitewater kayaker. But they are both working for the company. So,
You're not live on your show.
what?
You're only live on Jim Sammons.
My wife is telling me I'm not live on my page. I don't know why, because it says I am.
Okay, I'm not seeing you, but
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop and go to the correct page.
sorry.
No, I'm glad you told me. It looks like I well, you know what? Actually, I can I can restart. Like I should.
I heard you talking, and I'm like, you're not anywhere.
Yeah, I clicked on the wrong button. This is crazy. So we want to remove that one. Remove. And go to that one. So I guess I made a mistake when I was hitting the buttons. There we go. I am on Facebook, but I wasn't on. Like I said, my mistake. I accidentally hit the wrong button. I'm going to check on my phone right here real quick. Make sure that I am live on the correct page because I just can't see it at the moment. So I may start over. Just go with it. Or people who want to. Let's see. Where is it? It takes my phone forever to load. Well, there I am. So I made a mistake. I hit the wrong button. I was sharing on my personal page, I guess, and not on my show page. So here I am. I'm back. So anyway, we're going to start. I'll just kind of go through this stuff really quickly over again. You know, brought to you by Ballast Point, having the Mocha Marlin Porter today. It's a perfect beer for the kind of weather we have. Yeah, like I said, I started off, I hit the wrong button and started off on the wrong show. So anyway, as I was pointing out, hopefully we are still continue to be brought to you by Ballast Point Brewing Company. They were sold. It was announced that they were sold as of a few days ago. 4 years ago, they sold for $1 billion. And now they've been sold to a much smaller company, and I'm guessing for a lot less money. But everybody that I've talked to said that's a really good thing. So we're hoping for all the best that they can continue to support us, and then that it's good for all the people. And what everybody said is that it's going to stay all the same people, all the people we know. And it's going to just give them an opportunity to kind of get back to where they were, you know, a really good microbrewery instead of being, you know, pushed around by the giant company. So we're hopeful that that's all a good thing. I did touch on it since I definitely want to mention this because if you weren't on this page when I was rambling about it, is the 12 days of Christmas deals that Jackson Kayak has going on right now. It is a new deal every day. So if you looked at the Cyber Monday deals, they were very good. These are even better, but it's only like for the 24 hours today is one of their whitewater boats called Mixmaster, I believe, and the Blue Sky Escape. So if you've been considering getting a Blue Sky, the Escape is not the Angler 360, but it's not far off. It's just missing a couple of little things that you could personally add. So at the price they've got that boat at, I would, if you've been thinking about a Blue Sky, it's just an absolutely smoking deal. Hey, Sean, how you doing, man? Mario, how you doing? This guy's on live constantly. He does a lot of great shows. So thanks for jumping in there, Mario. I made I don't know if you jumped on. I made a big mistake, clicked on the wrong destination. So I was broadcasting to my own page there for a while. So had to jump back over and switch it around. The nice thing about StreamYard is it does make it easier to switch back and stuff while you're still broadcasting. So it's pretty easy. So if you guys are interested in live streaming, this is what I use, is StreamYard. And it's a great setup, and it's very affordable. You can broadcast to multiple destinations and all that. So if anybody ever has questions about it, I'm happy to answer. Thanks, Mario. I appreciate that. I've kind of gotten out of the habit of live broadcasting, and I'm trying to get myself back into it. So I kind of dropped out for a little bit. So anyway, yeah, Justin, the Escape is not far from the Angler at all. It is a great boat. And like I said, if for the price they have it at, I said you only have 24 hours, so you don't have a whole lot of time to think about it. But if you've been considering one of the Blue Sky boats, that Escape is a smoking deal, and you can make the changes to make it into a Angler if you want to, or just go with it the way it is and start rigging it. I mean, they're pretty easy to rig up. So very, very sweet boat. Hey, Richard, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us here. One of the other things I had started to touch on was the changes at Jackson Kayak. Eric Jackson did step down as president of the company. His name's on every boat. He will still be involved with the company to an extent. But the reality is EJ is a professional athlete. He's a former world champion whitewater kayaker. He's been pursuing a professional bass career as well. It's difficult to do those things and also run a company efficiently. So I think in the long run, I mean, I'm sure it's very emotional initially, but I think in the long run, it's going to be good for everybody. I think it'll be good for Jackson Kayak, and I think it'll be good for Eric Jackson. The Jackson name will still be very closely associated. Obviously, it's on the boats, but Emily Jackson, Dane Jackson are still very involved in the company. So we're all very excited and looking forward to how things move forward. So like I said, I didn't schedule a guest today just because I was trying to get back going, and just holidays and everything. I just been kind of lagging. So this is just a free for all. If you guys have any questions or anything, I did bring some stuff up in here that I got for my last trip, and I wanted to share with you. Serge, how are you? Is it snowing up in Ottawa? Reginald, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us again. So anyway, on my last trip to our shoot when we were in Florida, I had shipped to me direct a few items that ended up catching a lot of fish on. The main thing is, I know you guys are familiar. You know how much I love the Band of Anglers Dart Spin. Now, this is the size I've been throwing. This is the original. I mean, these things are super, super tough, very fishy, catch a ton of fish. What I received, which I'm very excited about and which I'm stoked on to be using here, is the next size up. So that's going to give me, I think this is going to be just absolutely awesome for the bigger calico bass. I love these lures, and I think this is just going to be fantastic. I said I've caught over 30 species of fish on this one, and now the big one. Now, the one that worked for me, honestly, on this last trip, that got me my very first cobia, it's actually in the package, is this smaller one. And this is actually the same color and everything that I got the cobia on. It's pink with a red blade, red on one side, chrome on the other. So that's the new one. So when you need that smaller presentation, there you go. So we can compare. You can see the size difference there. So this is what I got that 24-inch cobia on. So, or whatever size it was. I don't even remember. It was my first ever cobia, though. So pretty stoked on that. Like I said, you can fish these things. Where'd I put it? You can fish them just like this one is, completely weedless. These things fish so well, so weedless. They're absolutely amazing. You can fish them. I thought I tossed one in here, and apparently I didn't. Nope. Oh, yep. I'm losing my mind. It's been that kind of day. So you can go straight with a lead head, like this one here. You can fish them weedless. You can fish them in a donkey rig. I was fishing for calico bass with 2 of them on my setup, which was very, very enticing. So lots of different ways. Like I said, this is the big one again. Here's another one of the big ones. So lots of great colors, kind of that green mackerel pattern. So if you haven't fished the dart spin, absolutely amazing. I've caught a lot of different fish on them. And the amazing thing, like the little one I was using on that that I got the cobia on, I mean, I fought that fish for 20 minutes and the lure still looked brand new. They're very, very tough. Like I said, they'll last you fish after fish. The only place I've been where they didn't hold up was down in Panama when triggerfish would get them. And triggerfish are like piranha. I mean, they just go through anything. So, but I mean, I've landed multiple pike, muskie, all kinds of toothy critters, and they just keep going. So, like I said, that's the Band of Anglers dart spin. And this is the 3.5, I think. Well, it says 4.5, but that looks 3.5 to me. So I don't know if that's mismarked, but it's nice and small and just absolutely, like I said, I love these things. You can fish them super slow. You can fish them fast. You can use them as a wake bait. Just phone's going crazy. You can do a lot of different stuff with them. So very, very cool lure. Omar Araka says he loves my background. You know why he loves that background? Because that was taken while I was fishing with Omar Araka in Puerto Rico. So actually, I wanted to mention Omar. Omar's a very good friend of ours. We absolutely love fishing with Omar. He kind of had some issues after the hurricane a few years back, and basically was out of business, lost his boats. He is getting back on his feet and getting back to business. So if you've ever considered going to Puerto Rico, they are back in business. The tourism is back going and the fishing is still red hot. And if you want the best guide on the island, check out Omar Araka, Caribbean Outfitters. I mean, he's a fantastic guide and just a heck of a lot of fun to fish with. And we'd love to have people go out and see him and help him get back on his feet and get back in business, because it has been a struggle after that hurricane, after he lost so much. So give him a shot. Serge says flurries and -4 degrees Celsius. That's cold. No, thank you. It's kind of overcast and it's supposed to be rainy tonight here. It's been raining on and off here. Justin Hauser, will they work on largemouth? Yes. I've got largemouth, smallmouth. I mean, and a lot of them up in Ottawa, actually. I got largemouth and smallmouth on them, caught pike on them. Like I said, I've caught 30 species. It's just one of those lures. Typical of Patrick Sebile. He just makes those lures that just work. So that is, if JT is, you're saying, what are they called? That is the dart spin by a Band of Anglers, Hyperlastic. So there's the card, dart spin, if that thing wants to focus. So super tough. They come 2 in a pack like this, unrigged, or they come pre-rigged and painted like this. So they come in a couple different ways, and you can see those on the a Band of Anglers website. But it is the Hyperlastic Dart Spin. Wade King, the smaller dart spin looks like they should be a good bait for smallmouth bass. Ever tried them in freshwater? Yeah, again, I've used them. I've caught a lot of fish in freshwater. I've got a lot of fish in saltwater on them. It's just one of those lures. We were using them just when I went up to visit my videographer, Will, while he was out. I went and visited him and brought these with me. And this was the only lure I brought. And I caught all my smallmouth and all my largemouth on the dart spin. So, but it was actually, I only had on that trip, I only had this size. So I wish I had this size, because I know I probably would have done much better on the smallmouth. But So you can see the difference in size. So great lure, and I really like them. Hey, John, how you doing, man? Happy Friday to you as well. And again, let's get that out there. Mocha Marlin Porter. It's like dessert in a can. It's so absolutely delicious. Hi, Camille. How are you? Hey, you know what, Camille Null? Her husband has a very, very sweet look. I get what Camille was telling me, or she posted that nobody, was it like something, and nobody needs 3 boats and 2 kayak trailers full of kayaks. So her husband is selling one of his boats. If you're in the market for a very sweet flats type boat, hook up with Camille, and she'll hook you up with her husband, who's got that really nice boat. John, is the blade on a screw lock? Well, yes and no, John. It is a screw in there. If you can kind of see it in there, but it's not screwed in. It's actually molded in. So when they're making this, it's molded in there. So it's not pulling out. I mean, it's very, very tough. The lures also have the grooves already in them. So you're not actually piercing the lure at all to rig it. You always get it in straight. You know, a lot of times if you're kind of putting in a lead head, you end up with it, you know, humpback like this or sideways like this because you don't quite get it straight. These have channels, so you never have to worry about it. You're always going to rig it properly. Where in Puerto Rico is Omar? Omar is right. Omar, answer the question. Where exactly are you? But I know you're right near the airport. I mean, we were fishing in the flight path of the airport in San Jose. So but I mean, he fishes offshore, he fishes inshore. His specialty really is the inshore tarpon fishing. Just a little background. So I went and fished with Omar many years ago, and we had a brutal, brutal, tough trip. I'm not going to lie. He had set it up for the best time to be there and everything. And right before we got there, there was a plankton bloom in the estuaries and kind of just drove all the fish out. I caught that fish that's in that picture on the last day of the shoot. So it was a brutal, brutal trip. But we enjoyed fishing with Omar so much that we wanted to give him another chance. And when he proposed other dates to us to come again the following year, we jumped on it and had a ridiculously good trip. I mean, fishing that same estuary, that same area, we caught tarpon from this big, you know, up to, you know, over 100 pounds. And then we went and visited him again because we enjoyed fishing with him so much, and fished the other side of the island, and kind of fished more coastally rather than inside the estuaries. And again, just so many tarpon, plus mangrove snapper and snook and you name it. Absolutely a blast to fish with, a heck of a guy. And like I said, we'd love to see him get back on his feet. And but to do that, he needs clients. So did I say San Jose? I meant San Juan. Omar, we're next to the airport in San Juan. I said San Jose. So anyway, love fishing with the guy. And like I said, we'd love to help him get back in business. But the only ways he can get back in business is to have clients go out and see him. So if you ever consider going to Puerto Rico, again, highly recommend it. Amazing fishing and an amazing guide. Sean, as 2019 comes to a close, what trips do you already have planned for 2020? Honestly, we're doing less shows this next year. Because of some sponsorship issues, quite honestly, we're going to try and do a higher production value and less episodes. So we just did the shoot down in Florida. Our next shoot scheduled is in the Bahamas. And then the other one that I'm working on actually is to Puerto Rico. So I'm not sure when that's going to be. I think April, May. We kind of want to do a story about how Puerto Rico is back in business and how they've come back, the challenges they're still facing. after the hurricane, but how they are back in business and, how people should get out there and go fishing. So that's the plan right now, but we do need to work on it a little bit. So I got to sort it out. Dirk White, what has been your favorite rain suit? Well, I mean, as far as clothing I wear on my kayak, I wear stuff from Kokatat. I either wear their paddling pants with the Gore-Tex foot, or I have their bibs that also have the Gore-Tex foot, or I've also got a dry suit. So it really depends on where you're fishing and what those water temperatures are. You can go and we actually did a show with Matt from Kokatat last week. And if you want to go back and we talked about all that stuff. So if you want to go back and if for people who don't want to sit here and watch one of these, we do have them on the podcast as well. So you can just listen to all of our ramblings. But I love the Kokatat stuff. If that's not where you're looking, lightweight breathable waders and a good paddling jacket. And just remember to always include that PFD. I'm adamant about people wearing PFDs, and in cold water conditions, it gets just that much more important. And my wife has to chime in, and that fish pooped all over you. Yes, it did. It was that fish right there, or right there, took the biggest stinky dump on me that you can ever imagine. But I was glad to have it because it had been a few days of stressful fishing without getting any bites. And like I said, this fish was literally bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. We had maybe an hour left in our fishing trip when I hooked that fish. So I was glad to take the poop all over me on that one, although it did stink. Christopher says, dart spins last forever. Go with the pre-rigged pro version. The hooks are custom and match the baits perfect. Yes, they do. Like I said, this is the pro version. They are painted. I'll admit it. The paint does, after a lot of fish, does peel off, but they still work, and again, they're just so incredibly tough. I know for the this size, in mustad anyway, in a weighted weedless hook, I like a 6-aught. And on that one, I was using a 4 or 5-aught, I believe. I can't remember exactly. I've only used this one the one time so far, and that was in Florida. And that little bait got me a big old cobia. And that cobia hit as soon as that thing hit the water and started sinking down. It literally just smashed it. So my first ever cobia. So I was very, very stoked with that. Omar says, saw lots of fish the first time. There's no bites. That was it. We were seeing fish rolling and just nothing. And we were throwing lures. We were trolling live bait. We were doing chunk bait. We were doing everything that we could imagine. But for whatever reason, the fish just were completely shut off. But like I said, the next time we went, we absolutely crushed them. And the volume of tarpon there is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So if you've never caught tarpon off a kayak, you don't know what you're missing. I said it all the time. It's like, if we had tarpon here in San Diego, I think that's all I would do, because they're just so much fun off a kayak. And you just can't get enough of it. I'd probably fish for other stuff too. Like, got to go get some tuna. I want to eat some fish, but just for pure fun, I don't know if there's anything better. We were, I think it was on our last trip we went, we were fishing underneath some docks and stuff and throwing lures way up in there and just getting destroyed. My buddy James, he was having the most unlucky trip. He broke hooks. He got broke off. We were thrown up underneath the dock, and his fish went up and wrapped around 2 dock pilings, and he broke off. I threw a lure up in there. Mine went up there, rocked around 2 dock pilings, and swam back out, and I landed it. So I was having the luckiest trip, and he was having the most unlucky trip. But good times and absolutely amazing. Jeremy, you say it's on your bucket list? I would say is people got to stop putting stuff on bucket lists and just get out there and do it. People are always, I'm gonna someday. I used to get that all the time with people when I was doing trade shows, and someone would come to me, well, next year, Jim, I'm going to go on a guided trip with you. Next year, this year for sure. It's like, you know what, you've been saying that to me every year for the last 5 years when I see you at these shows. Stop saying you're going to do it and do it. Just get out there and go. Make it happen. It's too fun. Leo Rylands, good day from Australia. I've got to get to Australia. Haven't managed to get there. Like I said, I've been to New Zealand 3 times, but I've never been to Australia other than I think I landed in the airport there once. But thanks for joining us from down under. Dirk, check out the video. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, Kokatat really makes the best stuff. What I like about the Kokatat, like the paddling pants or the bibs with the Gore-Tex sock versus the traditional waders. With traditional waders, you have that neoprene booty that is like this thick. So then to wear a protective shoe over it, which you need to do, otherwise you're going to destroy it. You're wearing, I wear a size, 11, 12 shoe already. So my wading boot is like a size 14. They're just enormous. So fitting those inside the footwells of a kayak, they're just huge and cumbersome. So with the Gore-Tex sock, you basically, I can wear a thick wool sock underneath the Gore-Tex sock. And that really helps with wicking away the moisture. You don't get all clammy. It keeps you warmer. But I can wear a normal size shoe over the top of it, or a wetsuit booty. Here's one right here. So I can wear this wetsuit booty over the top of that Gore-Tex sock. Because like I said, you got to do that to protect it, but also to keep your foot warmer. But so this or a water shoe, more often than not, I wear a water shoe. But this, being this size versus a size 14 is just much more comfortable. Much. Okay. Omar said boga tarpon. No, we're not talking about the boga tarpon, Omar. That was one of the funny stories. Well, I'll tell you, this basically is I had a tarpon on a boga grip. I've got a little bit of arthritis in my fingers, so sometimes holding on to stuff is tough for me. And I dropped it. And we later found the tarpon just sitting with the boga in its mouth, and we were able to get the boga back. So unfortunately, like I said, there's one of those things that happened, but it was a good laugh. So what else? Guys got any questions? Of course, I'm always happy to talk kayak fishing. I'm trying to get back into doing the regular shows. I don't remember if I mentioned that this disappeared on me. My PLB disappeared on my trip down to Florida. And it, I thought TSA had taken it because it does have a lithium ion battery, and I had it in my checked bags. It turns out at some point when we were shuffling gear down in Florida, it fell out of my gear, fell off my PFD. I never saw it on the entire trip. That's why I thought TSA had taken it. So the people who found it down at the Tarpon Lodge actually turned it on. So the Coast Guard contacted them. Then they actually turned it off and called the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard, because you do have to register a personal locator beacon, they had my information. So they were able to contact me. I was able to call back the location, say, hey, that PLB you found is mine, and they sent it to me. So there you go. Oh, you know what else I was going to mention? Speaking of, and where did I put it? I wonder if I threw it in my garage. Oh, here we go. So I a little shout out to Daiwa. You know, I'm a big Siegler reels guy. Unfortunately, Wes doesn't make any reels this small, and you know, for throwing these little lures, I kind of need that. So I took this up to Canada. I thought it'd be great for throwing the bigger lures for the pike and the muskie, and I wasn't very happy with it. This is a Lexa HD. And anyway, so when you cast it, when you go to turn the handle, it wasn't re-engaging. You had to, I mean, you had to really make sure that you mashed down on the thumb bar when you made your cast. Otherwise, it wouldn't re-engage. It would free spool, but it wouldn't re-engage. So I sent it back as soon as I got back from the trip. And again, it was a brand new reel. I sent it back to Daiwa. Turns out this was a known issue. They had this thing back to me. I sent it in on Monday and I had it back on Thursday. So amazing. And this was not going, hey, this is Jim Sammons from the Kayak Fishing Show. I didn't play any games. I just, as a customer, I sent it back and I had it back in, like I said, sent it Monday, had it back Thursday. They are here in California. So, of course, that helps shipping wise, but still amazing customer service. So a huge shout out to Daiwa. I'm really excited to actually now use this reel because it's super smooth. I've heard nothing but good things about the Lexas, but you know, your first impression when you hear something good about a reel and the first time you use it, it's not functioning right. I'm not really happy, but that customer service makes me want to want to try it again because I have heard good things about it. Wes Siegler's messaging me. He actually watched my show the other day and he's giving me a hard time. Oh, there was something I actually wanted to mention is the Siegler reel. I wish I had one here in my office. The SM, which is the Star mag. At the moment, it's the only Star drag he has, but it's got a mag in it. It's really used for just amazing distance casting. He only makes them a couple times a year. So once they're gone for a few months. So they just ran a batch of them. So if you have been looking for the Siegler SM, he does that. He does have them in stock right now. He just mentioned that to me earlier. So I wanted to let you guys know that if you have been looking for that Star mag, you want a reel that'll cast a freaking mile and make 50 pounds of drag. It's a pretty amazing little reel. Sean Russell, have you ever considered doing a giveaway to go fishing with Jim Sammons? It might be a fun production to watch as you teach. We actually did something like that years ago on a trip. We had we had a person join us on a trip to Costa Rica. That was put on by one of the sponsors. It was actually when we were still with Ex Officio. So they made a whole trip for this person in Costa Rica, wrapped around their clothing and yada, yada, yada. And they got to spend one day fishing with us at Silver King Lodge in Costa Rica, which if you ever considered another place to go tarpon fishing, not nearly as easy to get to as Puerto Rico. And that's one of the things you love about Puerto Rico. But there are some huge tarpon there. And I had one of the best tarpon fishing days ever down there. I got 11 tarpon in one day. So, and we're not talking little tarpon. These were all, 90 to 125 pounds. So amazing. Kind of a weird operation they had there, but the fishing was absolutely fantastic. Can someone spell the name of the waders with the Gore-Tex socks? Well, the brand is Kokatat. Kokatat. Kokatat, yeah. Kotat. Kokatat. There. And they're at kokatat.com. There, I just put it in the comments. And I believe it's called the name of the actual bib is called, it's their whirlpool bibs. Thanks, Camille. I mean, so my brain's not working today. I mean, the whole fact that I started off the show on my own page instead of on the show page just proves it. And I hadn't had any of these before. And Camille put up the link for me as well. So yes, and absolutely amazing people at Kokatat. And, you know, of course, one of the things we love about them, like so many of our sponsors, made in America. They are actually in California, but everything is made in America except for some of the fabric. So, but again, we did the show with them last week. So if you want to listen in on what we had to talk about all the Kokatat stuff, their paddle and clothing, and of course PFDs. But Sean, back to your question on doing a trip with Jim Sammons. I mean, I'd love to. It's just a matter of, you know, getting a sponsor behind it. And it's always, unfortunately, making a TV show. Everything's kind of sponsor driven. And that's been the biggest issues anymore. There's a lot of people trying to make shows and a lot of people with their hand out, and you got to keep making the best product. And I think we do make a good product, but you know, you got to have sponsors to back anything you want to do. So, but I would love to put it together, Sean. So yeah, that was, I talked about the reel. That was one thing I wanted to cover. The fishing here in San Diego is still in between storms. And I'm not talking kayak fishing here, but boat fishing. There's still yellowfin and bluefin tuna out here. The water temperature is like 62, 63 degrees, which is crazy. But I had a friend bring me over a nice big chunk of yellowfin tuna. He said he got into, just before the last storm, he got into a wide open yellowfin bite, and all the fish were 40, 50 pounds. And then he broke off on one that he said was twice that size. So it could have been either a big yellowfin or a bluefin, because again, we've had the big bluefin around as well. So it's weird, you know, tuna fishing in December, you know, you just never hear of that. But that's the way the fishing's been here in San Diego this last year. So absolutely, the bluefin just don't seem to want to go away. So so like I said, impromptu show, trying to get back into it. I do have some guests that I'm kind of lining up now. So with the holidays and everything, it's going to get a little sporadic. I'm actually going on vacation as well. The middle of January, I'm going to actually be going to Thailand for 3 weeks. So we'll definitely have a lull in shows then too. So I do appreciate you guys who show up and join the shows. The deal is still available through Cyber Fishing. If you've thought about getting one of their rod sensors, if you use Cyber Jim, you get a 15% discount at cyberfishing.com. So it's a cool little item. I've had a lot of fun fishing with that thing. So if you've thought about getting one of those, now's a good chance. They maybe even have still a better deal. So just go to their website and check it out. I know they had a really good deal for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that. So if that deal's going, I think it was even a deeper discount than this one. But if their deeper discount's gone, you still have this 15% discount using that code. So anyway, like I said, just wanted to get back on here, say hi, talk about a few things. Don't see any more questions up here or anything, so I'm just going to kind of let her go. Thank you guys all for joining me. And if you are going out on the water, please remember to always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Cheers, everybody. Have a good weekend.